Good morning, everybody. It is July 2nd, 9 o'clock in the morning. We are back in Georgia, and it is officially time to set cameras for bears for the upcoming bear season. So, the only real sucky thing already happening this morning is that all back here behind me, this huge clear cut, this was the spot where, if you watched my video from last season, opening day of archery season for bear, had a bear right over here on the edge of this little bay head. I was set up in pine tree because there was tons of pine trees all in here, and almost got a shot on that bear, but he ran off. But that's the spot, and now there's no pine trees there. They've clear cut this whole thing, which I had a feeling that was going to happen because they had ribbons marked off earlier last year. But thankfully, I got to hunt here last year and, had some good time. But kind of a bummer, it's knocked out. And I was saying, well, maybe I'll go over here, which you can't really see it, but there's a little bit of pine trees right there. But they clear cut a whole bunch of that over there. So I'm like, daggone, man. So I got to make a loop around here and go to another spot that I think, hopefully, they have not clear cut, but I know there was a lot of bear sign there last year. But other than this happening, it's a great morning out here in Georgia, finally getting to set some bear cameras up. I'm excited. I got several cell cameras now, so I'm excited to use those. I've been using them up around my house for deer here the last couple of weeks, testing them out. They've been doing great. So without further ado, today's going to be interesting because we got a lot of new scouting to do. Of course, been coming out here for 3 years now, so I know a lot of places that I can go set these cameras up. Been hunting the bears out here for 2 years, so I got plenty of spots to go to, but now we get to find some more and figure out where else they've clear cut, because I'm sure they've done a lot more cutting since the last time I was here. So without further ado, I hope y'all enjoyed this video. Please stick around for the entirety of it and enjoy some company with me. Let's go find some bears. All right, bad news. They've cut it too. All over here, it was super thick with trees, and it is completely just cut now. That's a bummer. Oh well. Off to finding some new grounds here, I reckon, but that just kind of really sucks because these two spots were going to be the main focus, because I knew for a fact that there was bears using them a lot last year, so I was really just focused on these. But it's all right. We got a lot more spots to cover, and it's all part of the fun, finding new spots for these bears, because they doing this to the trees, cutting down, it's definitely pushed them out a little bit, maybe moved them some new spots. So we're gonna have to get after it a little harder today, guys and gals. See what we can get. We're heading into the first spot of the scouting trip here. I'm about probably roughly half a mile from the normal area I would like to be at, but this spot looked pretty good on the map, and the way they clear cut everything, this chunk of swamp here would really be kind of like a little piece of the trail, as you could say. You can see where it's all clear cut, and then they let some standing trees, and if the bears were to follow just in the tree line walking in, they'd lead into this big swamp. So they could use the leftover trees as cover, and then they could make it in here in this swamp. And so far, I mean, just from walking 30 yards off the road, I see a bunch of palmettos, thick with palmettos in here, and also some blueberry bushes as well, sporadic through here. So, of course, got the big swamp as well. So this might be a good spot. We're gonna get in here and walk around a bit and see if we can find maybe some bite marks on trees where they're marking, or some palmettos that have been pushed down in seasons prior. Palmettos are just starting to get the berries growing. I found some in the forest close to home, starting to grow out pretty good, so it won't be too much longer before these bears are going to start hitting these palmettos, which for me is my main focus for the early season, September, is finding good palmetto patches that got some good palmetto berries, which, speaking of, right here, that's the palmetto berries. And as these get bigger and ripen up, the bear's really going to be hammering these. This is one of their main diets here in South Georgia during the early season, is palmetto berries. So finding this alone already right off the road and knowing this big swamp back in here, I about bet you this is probably going to be a good area. But we'll see when we get in here a bit further. Just got out all them palmettos and stuff. Got in this swamp head. As you can see, it's thick, but it's not unbearable where you can't walk under it. And it's not unbearable either, because a little bit of bear mark in here. I know that was like a super corny pun of a joke, but legitimately, there's a little bear mark in here. It's not really much. You can see where the bark has been busted off this pine tree compared to the coloration here. It's obvious. I was able to see it from a distance. We got some pine sap pouring out where he bit into it, but it's not really that aggressive of a marking. I've seen them where they've really taken a chunk out of the pine tree, but that's just got a little bit of claw mark and a little bite mark on it. But it's a very good sign. We're going to keep going in the swamp, see what we can find, but I mean, it looks very good in here. This is exactly one of the type of trail systems I want to find here in this swamp. You go from having this thicket here, it kind of opens up for like a little 10 by 20 section, but you've got a clear trail right here. Walk straight past and goes right through there. Then we have another trail that cuts right through the center. Obviously, the camera does not pick it up as good as seeing it in person, but trust me, very clear trail cutting right across here, going right through the center, but the one cutting across is most obvious. There's deer tracks in it, and I'm sure the bear are using it. I'm going to walk down this trail, see if I can find any bear markings on the tree or anything, but we'll see how far I can get. It looks like it gets real thick down there, but I'm very confident that the bears are using this too. We're going to get down here and see what we can find. But I got a strong feeling we're going to be setting the camera right here, overlooking this trail. And as we start to walk down, hopefully y'all can tell, probably not just by looking at that, but there's an impression right here. The side of his back foot goes around. It's a perfect impression going right into the ground. You walk just a little bit further, find another impression right there. It's perfect push down. So we got a good sign running down this trail already. There's another print right here, the back foot. This is the heel coming down. You got the toes right here. It's about the size of my hand. Walking the opposite way down this trail. As you can see, it is super, super thick in here. I'm literally on my knees coming through this stuff. But we finding them. Walking down the edge of this swamp where it meets the pines and palmettos. Walking down a nice little opening here that's on the edge. It's really thick over here in front of me, but this edge between the swamp and the pines is nice and open with underbrush. So I've just been walking along it, as the animals will do as well. Sure enough, found right here on the cypress tree bite markings. There's actually some old marking on there, but there's also some fresh claw marks, possible teeth marks there. Now, oftentimes these cypress trees will shed their bark, and so when they shed their bark, it looks like something's been tearing it up, but it'll be all the way up and down the tree most of the time. But this is perfectly head height, a little over head height, and you can see the actual marks, as I just showed you, the claws were teeth. These are probably claws here, but a little bit of teeth marks, some fresh sap coming down. So it's a good sign. But I can see imprints in the trail of a bear. And you walk up here, the top of this limb is tore down. It was probably some time ago as it's healed over, but that was from a bear tearing that up. So I think it's safe to say we're on the right track. I'm just walking down the edge of the swamp, just seeing what I see. I looked on the map, and in this big block of pines, there's one fire break that cuts directly across it. And it goes from one swamp to another, so I'm actually working my way down to that trail, that fire break. Because if it's as clear as it looks on the map, I about guarantee you those bears will be walking down that thing. Claw marks. Walking down the trail. We on them. Hopefully we're going to be on them when it's actually hunting time. First camera set and ready to go. It's overlooking that little trail cutting through here. Or not trail, but the opening between the thicket and the palmettos. Bear trail cutting down. Camera's ready to roll. I'll see you in 4 to 5 weeks. Sticks out from a long ways away. Marking on pine tree. I can actually see the prints. Of course, the camera never picks this up like I see it, but you can clear as day see the prints where he's walking. Just goes right down that little opening there, but that's a good marking on the tree for sure. Good fresh bite mark. That's what I've been looking for. It's about head height, just a little bit taller, but that's what I like. Got some palmetto crushing going on. The edges of those crushed down here. A lot of palmettos getting pushed down. Hunting for them berries and chewing the tips off the palmettos. You can see right here, this is a long time ago, got chewed off. This one not as long ago. But this spot is looking phenomenal with all the palmettos, and palmetto berries are thick in here. Not only because the palmettos being in here and the berries being thick, but behind me is huge swamp. About 100 yards in front of me on the other side of these palmettos is another big swamp. This is literally surrounded completely by a big swamp. You got a fire break that cuts down through the center. It's not even, I don't even know if it's really a fire break, honestly, because it's normally flooded with water. So I think it's just the natural flow of the swamp water that comes through here when it gets high. But anyhow, where these palmettos are at is just the only upland ground that's not swampy at all. Obviously, because there's palmettos growing on inside of it, and normally the palmettos won't grow in areas that have a lot of standing water consistently. So it's more of an upland type of a habitat. So these bears are coming out of these swamps. I mean, they can be anywhere in here. It's just food is all I'm getting at. Is food is phenomenal. The bear's biggest downfall is he is a slave to his stomach and his nose. And his stomach here is quite full because early season he's got the palmettos and the palmetto berries. Then later in the season, as the black gums start growing on trees and start falling down, he's got the swamp all around here, and it's just thick cover everywhere. So I mean, this is one of those ideal areas for a bear hunt for sure. And it's a long ways from the truck. You have to walk down here. You can't drive anything. And like I said, normally it's flooded, the little trail you used to get down here. So that'll deter a lot of people from coming down. But as y'all saw the last bear hunt last season, throw on some hip waders. You can get a lot of places where a lot of folks don't want to go. But I'm liking what I'm seeing. We're going to keep walking this hole. I looked on the map and it's just one little section, probably a couple acres, a few acres big, that's just full of these palmettos and pines. It's the upland part. So we're going to walk this whole thing, see what we can find, and set a camera in here. Thick swamp. Nice area of palmettos. Let me tell y'all, it don't get no fresher than that. It's got flies flying around it. It's so fresh. I can smell it right here. This is the spot. That's all I got to say. I'm putting probably 2 cameras in here. If my cell camera gets signal, we're going to put it in here. And if not, we're putting another camera. But probably going to put both in here. This right here is really, really good. Everything you could ask for in a bear spot is right here. When it comes to South Georgia bear hunting, this is it. I'm telling you, this is the spot. I have people ask me all the time. They say, why do you whisper when you're scouting? And I've had people I've gone out scouting with ask me it too. I'm like, why are you whispering? Because I'm telling them to be quiet. And the reason I do this, if it's not obvious, apparently it's not because people ask me about it. Let's say I'm walking here scouting right now. I find this fresh bear crap right here. Let's say that bear is 80 yards from me, right here in this thicket, just cruising around or even bedded up. Or over here, another palmetto eating. Me whispering is going to really lessen the chance of him hearing me. Me walking silently and trying to be just as stealthy out here scouting as I am when I'm hunting. You've got to treat it the same way. Scout like a predator and you hunt like a predator. I would rather him not know I'm here at all rather than him hear me talk 2 months before the season opens. I would rather him just not hear me at all 2 months before the season opens. You know, to each their own, but I know some people go out there deer scouting, bear scouting, and they're talking loud, they're crunching down limbs and stuff. Be quiet. I'm telling y'all, you need to hunt like a predator, scout like a predator, think like a predator. A panther doesn't walk around making noise everywhere he goes. A panther doesn't go around screaming everywhere he's at, letting everything know he's there. Granted, yes, I know panthers scream, but not in regards to when they're hunting. Think like a predator. Found us another one. There's a nice trail that cut through these palmettos, going back where we just were. Now it's just following his tracks. Sure enough, got us a fresh bite marking. And this has obviously been a legend tree. And I call it a legend tree because apparently for legends, bears have been using this. Because from here to here are old bark marks and the tree's scarred up. Old saps on here, and now we got this year's fresh bark marking. Right now all I'm doing is just following his trail and his tracks because they're so obvious. I can actually follow him and just seeing where he's going, how he's leading, give me an idea of how I need to set these cameras up. Falling over cypress tree, bear got into it, tore it all up looking for grubs. You can see it's still put together up top. Right here. Pretty fresh too where he's tore it up. Second camera, or third camera I should say. Good to roll. Now, it's a familiar area I've been to. This is where Tank was at last year. And if you've watched my videos, have I get my hat off because these mosquitoes are getting me. If you watched my videos from last year scouting, you would see that Tank was a pretty decent sized boar bear that I had on camera. And this area was 8 up with his sign. Very tall bear. His markings on the trees were well above my head. Like, I'm 5'9". I'm standing here, stretching my hand way up. is where his bite mark was at on the tree. So, very big bear. But once the rut ended, he kind of just vanished out of this area. So I'm coming back to see if his markings are still here again. He's starting to mark up some trees using the same area if he's still alive. And we're gonna get a camera set up here and hopefully try to get some pictures of him and maybe some new bears that are in this area. But I know one thing, these mosquitoes are tearing me up. But without further ado, let's get in here and see what we can find. This is a trail last year that the bears were using. And as I said, if you've watched my videos before from last year, you probably recognize that marking on that tree. This is where he was walking along the edge, which is just the trail, the foot trail for me to go. And he was walking along the edge and just cut all through there. This was another tree that he had marked last year. And look at that, he marked it again this year. There you go. That's a good bear, for sure. It's not at complete stretch in my hand, but it's right there. I guarantee you that's the same bear. I guarantee you. Same trail, same exact tree marked, about the same height. And what I noticed first was this. See these brown leaves right here? This limb just broke off. I was like, that got my attention because there's no tree like that right here, and it's a pine tree above me. So I walked over about 10 foot from it, got the limbs there, same tree. So now we grab this tree and we bend it down. You can see where it's tore right there on top, and it has bear hair in it as well. So that's very good sign. We're gonna keep walking down here, and more than likely he's marked up the same places that he did last year. Definitely putting the camera in here though. Another one of the same trees as last year. It's tore into it again. This is where I had my camera last year. It was sitting right on this tree, overlooking this. Got markings on this tree here, all clawed up. And then the trail just cuts right in through, gets on that and goes into that swamp. What I can see is prints walking down the trail. So we're gonna put the camera right back here like we did last year. Look at this. Print there, print there. It's print there, just cuts right through. And we got another marking on the tree right here. We've got this tree broken daggum half. I busted it down, grabbed hold of it. It was crazy. That trail just cuts up through there, and part of it goes that way. Lord, I sure hope I get a picture of him. Man, how tall that is what gets me the most. There's that other one right there. It's what you like to see as a bear hunter. Alrighty folks, that is a wrap for today. It is 4:20 on the dot. We've been out here all day. Only checked out like 4 or 5 spots. 4 spots, only looked at 4 spots. But all 4 of them were phenomenal looking spots. Great sign. So I spent a lot of time in there really scouting it out and then hanging the cameras up. So I'm excited. Today was very productive, and I very much look forward to seeing what's on the cameras here in the coming weeks. I would say next time I come up here, but out of the 5 cameras I hung, only 2 of them are SD card type cameras where you gotta pull the SD card out to be able to see what's on there. The rest are cell cameras. So they got great signal out here, thankfully, for the cameras, and hopefully we'll be getting a lot of pictures sent to my phone to drive me crazy. And then hopefully when I come back up here, either to move cameras around or change batteries or whatnot, the SD card cameras are going to have some good bear pictures on them as well. So we'll see what happens. I appreciate y'all for checking out this video. I hope y'all enjoyed it. I appreciate y'all for checking out this video. I hope y'all enjoyed it. I've heard some folks say, just a few, that y'all really like hanging out with me when I come out here scouting. So that's why I wanted to bring you along. So I appreciate you for watching. If you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn your notifications on. That's a little bell. You need to click it and put all notifications on. That way when I upload anything, you get notified. You don't miss out on anything. So I'm heading home now. We got a nice ride, long ride back home, but it'll be good. We got us a sandwich we're about to eat and then just chill out. I appreciate y'all, and I will see you next time.